But it will be in about 10 minutes.
Well, it says we're live up there. We'll wait and see if it comes up on there with the audio. Check that out before we go any further. Well, you got it. It hasn't come up on mine yet.
Audio check is fine.
Okay. Got just different lags, look, because we're on different devices. Oh, good evening, people. Jenny, Scar, Raymond, Stitch, and Resist. He'll probably be in the background there somewhere. Marines, Rex Sniffer. Good evening, mate. Been a while.
Good evening, everybody. I can't be bothered to try and type all the names.
She's in a lethargic mood today. I did try and get an hour's kip earlier, but I've been plagued by this bug for a few days now, and it's really wearing me down. But obviously, the big topic today was all the bullshit on the financial review, the spending review from. I've still got a bloody bit of a head cold. Setting out what the thieving bitch is going to spend. Well, it was 3/4 of an hour of my life that I shall never fucking get back, but it was all bullshit. Hi, little Stitch. I mean, she's writing checks that won't be cashed. The money isn't there. They'll be returned. She's gone back over a lot of old ground. Yeah, the only reason I watch it, Rex, is to keep up on it, and then I go and look for the stories behind the stories, as it were, but coming straight and first hand from them in Parliament, it's easy to see. But yeah, it's all pay now. Give it away now, pay later. But the money that she's been promising is ridiculous. I mean, she only mentioned the black hole once in 3/4 of an hour of talking. Well done, Rachel from accounts. Even though we all know it's bullshit, the banks know it's bullshit. They keep using it as an excuse, but they haven't proved that it was there yet. Bit like, good evening, Karen. A bit like I'm using the Ukraine-Russian war, blaming that on our energy prices. Well, the only reason that the energy prices are up, as we know, is because we've got to buy it off Europe, because they knock down everything that produces most of our fucking own. And now they're panicking and want to bring these new nuclear power stations on. They're going to take years to build. Years. Yep, but that's the thing, Scar. They haven't said where they're going to get this money from. If we don't get an emergency budget, you can guarantee that in the next full budget, the autumn budget in early November, I think it is, taxes will go up. They've got no other way of raising the money. They said they're knocking a bit off foreign aid and what have you. Well, that should be happening anyway. Yeah, things are going to get very dark very quick, Rex, as far as I can see, mate. Good evening, Moo. You in there? Oh, yeah. Good evening, buddy. Welcome. But yeah, she's promised, in fairness, most of what she's been promising is what they want to spend it on in this country, which is great. Now we haven't fucking got any. Yeah, most of the foreign aid is a scam anyway, Rex. We know the countries they send it to, and we know what their governments do with it. Even if it's aid and helping people, it doesn't get to the relevant people that need it. But she's 200 million promised. Oh my God, fishnet stocking. What am I missing here? While I'm reading my notes. 200 million on border control. Well, they've thrown God knows how many million at it, and it still don't work. What are you going to do? Go out in the channel and throw money at the fuckers as they're trying to cross? The only way is to stop the boats coming, is turn them back. I got a new walking stick. I hate baseball bat. Yeah, just put a plastic loop on the end of it, Rex, so it looks like it's got a handle. Use it upside down. But yeah, that's the black hole is getting. Yeah, it's getting a lot bigger. Scar, they're creating one. At the last estimates, I think it was around 157 million. All on head. But yeah, they want to put these micro-nuclear reactors, as they're calling them, I think it is, and dot them all around the country. I thought at one point she said mobile. Well, that's not a very good idea. But this, you do that, you're looking at putting terrorist targets all around the fucking country, aren't you? You know? You remember when Sheldon Cooper tried on the Big Bang? He was going to build his own nuclear station. But I mean, they keep on about this AI again. Now, they want it to be used in defence. Well, I said that in the video. Basically, it doesn't matter what you got. They don't seem to be able to stop the boats coming across the channel. As I said, somebody who knows how to use it. Evening, Gordo. Somebody that knows how to use it. Go and ask AI how to stop the rubber boats coming across the channel. Or what's going to be the downfall of the British, the human civilization. I don't know how to use it. I'm not interested in AI. Yeah, well, this is why they want to deal with China, and it's Chinese technology. He said about using it to control immigration. You know, those that have already got here. It's fine. You want to bring this ID shit forward? Give the immigrants ID. We know who we are. We don't fucking need them. You know, it's, again, that one is all about control. And this is where they want to get in with the Chinese to see how their system works. You know, penalise everybody they can. Put sugar in the RNLI lifeboats. Well, this is the thing, Rex. I mean, was it last week? They actually asked 2 fishing boats to go and assist with 2 incidents in the channel, genuine incidents, because the RNLI had nobody available. They were all shipping the paddlers across. Yeah, exactly, Moo. And if they did, it would be so garbled and biased. But I mean, they're openly admitting now, some of these tech companies, that they've had rogue AI. It's learned to lie. It can confuse people. It can bamboozle people. But the good thing, they did say it apologised afterwards for doing it, after it admitted it. But again, the stupid things she was saying, like school dinners, breakfast clubs, it will lift children out of poverty. No, it won't. Because if the families are on benefits, they're in poverty anyway. just giving the kid an extra meal a day, yes, it'll keep them a bit healthier, but that's about it. It won't do anything to lift them out of poverty because they got to live in it when they get home.
And people on UC have found that are working, if they earn a bit too much money, the first thing to go is the kids' free school meals.
Yeah, and if you get a certain amount of benefits over £600, is it, a month or something, then you don't qualify for it. So what they've done, they've lifted.
Now, if you earn over £600.
If you earn over, okay, thank you. But you know, the breakfast clubs have been there for a long time. It's not a new idea, same as free school meals. So she was just talking bollocks. Yeah, it's a shame we haven't. Well, we have got sharks that will attack humans, wrecks in our waters. Most of the smaller ones would swim away, but we have got makos. I've never heard of a poor beagle attacking anybody. And believe it or not, we have had the odd one or two hammerheads as well. But that is the only way they're going to get stopped, you know, with the French waving them off the beaches. France said it put a new law in place, which means the police can enter the water to stop them, which they couldn't do before. But they don't seem to be wanting to do it.
Get the feet wet.
Yeah, exactly, Scar. You know, like the pensioners, that they reverse the winter payment for certain levels. I might add, it's not totally across the board. But they said if you're earning over, I think it was, or you've got income of over 35,000, you won't qualify. So how can they justify getting their heating paid when they earn hundreds of thousands by the taxpayer? A lot of robbing going on. But to be honest, Gordo, there was that shout quite a few years ago now about one being spotted off of Cornwall. Now, the skipper that spotted it, I know personally. His name was Phil Britz. He had his decky with him and his wife, Rona. Thank you, Stuart, for that update. Now, he's the one that said he had seen one. Now, a great white does look very, very similar to our native poor beagle. Same shape, same colouring. Now, Phil's a very experienced skipper. He's fished for great whites. He's fished out in the Caribbean and everywhere else around the world. Now, if he said he saw one, I'm inclined to believe him. We know they do come to our shores. They have been filmed and spotted up in the North Sea, around the oil rigs with the divers down there spotting them. And we also know that the great whites like colder water. So, you know, we get swordfish, we get tuna, sawfish as well as swordfish. You know, these are all species of fish that have been around our coast for years. They're just not in any great numbers. But anyway, getting back to Rachel from accounts. Now, you know, they're talking as if they're going to win the next election. Yeah, they wouldn't touch him. Rotten meat, Rex. They kept on about we've got the fastest rising wage increase or whatever since they got in power. Well, if that's a fact, why are people more and more now coming out on strike for more money? They said the employment they've created so many jobs. Well, the way it's going, the employment levels are shooting up because people are getting rid of people, as we know, through tax shit. They don't think of the consequences. Now, we're debted up to the eyeballs. We're paying over 100 billion a year in interest on loans. Not me, I mean the country. So all of us, really. She wants to borrow more. And dickhead Starmer stands up there and says, oh, we're not going to leave any debt that our grandchildren will have to pay off. Well, we're already in that amount of debt that our grandchildren are going to be paying it off well into their fucking adulthood, you prick. Yeah, it is, Jen. It's total gaslighting. It's the art of standing there for 3/4 of an hour talking but not actually saying anything. Yeah, exactly. The pension pot's been raided God knows how many times. And again, the prisons. 7 billion for, what was it, 14,000 new places? Or yeah, it can't be 1,400. It's got to be 14,000, isn't it, with the way they're arresting people? I mean, that's going to be years down the line because they need new prisons built. That's going to take time. So in the stopgap, why don't they, as we've all suggested, get out of the fucking ECHR so those foreign criminals that are in our prisons or those that are convicted of sex crimes and shit like that don't even enter our prison system. They get booted out straight away. You know, it's... I mean, you know, Tommy Robinson, I haven't seen the video he's put out, but he has put one out apparently explaining how the Islamic gangs are virtually running the prisons. Well, we knew that anyway. That was the reason he was on solitary, wasn't it? But she went on. So I'm not on the coat tonight. I'm on the Lucasade Sport. Again, the extra for the police and the justice system. How much was that? Didn't say. I can't remember, but it was a lot of money. Rothschilds have lost 6 trillion. I haven't heard that, Rex. But yeah, they're going to pay for more police. I think the number was quoted was 30,000 more officers with more sort of community officers. Well, we know what that means. That means plastic plod that think they got powers way above what they actually have got. But they're paying more for this again. Now, what happened to the extra 20,000 that they were going to put on the beat when she did her budget? They never materialised, did they? It's, yeah, I mean, the police are as corrupt as fuck anyway. We know that. You know, maybe they're just giving them more money to keep them sweet so they follow the guidelines that they've been given. Not the law, the guidelines they've been given. Yeah, exactly, Scar. They said they tightened up the vetting systems, but from what I've seen, there's still wrong uns getting through and they're still paying thousands of wrong uns to sit at home. because they're waiting for the new bills or whatever to come through so they can get rid of them. You know, I mean, there's other MPs calling now for withdrawal from the ECHR and a lot of EU rules, which is being ignored. You know, I mean, look at Gibraltar. They've given that away now. It's still our territory, but you've got to go through French or Spanish customs, i.e. EU customs, to get into the fucking place. They've handed the borders of Gibraltar over to Spain. But this is costing billions, and they've got no fucking way of paying it. Health service. Okay. It's in a fucking mess. It's in fucking meltdown. Not because of the boots on the ground, as it were, the frontline people. This is all down to mismanagement. Yeah, get a rise while they're on garden leave. Exactly, Scott. They're throwing God knows how many more million pounds at the NHS. Well, I've always said throwing money at it will never ever fix it, because that money always goes to the wrong people and the wrong departments. Managers.
Good night, Rex. Enjoy yourself.
All right, Rex, cheers for dropping in, buddy. Respect. Yeah, they have sold the NHS off, Rex. They're selling it down the drain. But he said we're going to get thousands more GPs. So why is there thousands of GPs coming out and saying they've been laid off? They got booted out of the job, or they've left the job because of what's happening. So realistically, that ain't going to happen. No, that's all right, Stuart. Good evening, Hunter. I mean, I've said this all along, Stuart. What they're going to do, they want this diversity in the army, so they'll be willing to take asylum seekers once they've got their fucking paperwork passed. And what they're going to do, the biggest threat to this island since the Second World War, and they're going to arm them and teach them how to use the fucking arms. It's a bright idea, isn't it? But yeah, that I got absolutely nothing but gaslighting and bullshit from that 3/4 an hour of her yapping on. You know, I mean, if they can't see the fuck up she's done by now, then none of them should be there. Nice to see the eco goblin getting kicked out of Israel after being shown some video nasties. And the indignity of being flown out of the country on a gas-guzzling jet that didn't even take her home. I think it only took her as far as France. But it did cheer me up a bit that the pilot announcing on the plane where they were going wrong and giving it us the Israeli propaganda to her. Apparently she wasn't very happy, but yeah, she's gone from an eco loon to basically a terrorist supporter, hasn't she? You know, I'm really surprised that they haven't cottoned on to just the easiest way to shut the little bitch up, and that's take her fucking passport off her. She can't go anywhere then. She can't annoy anybody. You know, they never look at the simple solutions. Yeah, the thing is, Stuart, it's like America. I mean, they know. Good evening, Graham. Yes, I can see your comments, mate. In America, most thieves, robbers, criminals know that if they break into a house, especially if the owner ain't there is likely to be some guns around. And that's why they've got so many of them in hands of criminals over there. And as you say, if they armed retired Army, Navy, Air Force, security, then the same would be happening here. There'd be more arms in the public domain, as it were, for them to steal and use against us. Good evening, Darren. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know where we go. There's so many things that they could have done that they've missed out on, not just this government. I mean, previous governments as well. But, yeah, as for the security that she was on about, it just seems to me like with Gibraltar and what have you, that they're just giving the borders away. And putting some of them in charge with the EU in charge of them, well, you know what's going to come through them fucking borders, don't you? But, I don't know whether anybody else had any other takes on what the silly cow said today before we get on to some other topics. Yeah, kicked out very indignantly, Graham, which was nice to see. I mean, everybody's had enough of her nonsense. I mean, she hasn't been born long enough to even know what fucking life means. But yeah, basically, it's disarming the British public over the years. Even farmers that need their guns have lost them, a lot of them. Now we're seeing the reason why they wanted to do it. I had a job, Graham. I had a job, believe me. All she done was repeated a lot of the bollocks. I mean, the housing, they still want this 1.5 million houses built. Now they're putting more money into that. Well, I thought they'd put more money into it and relaxed a load of shit so it could be done. Yeah, I used to work on building sites, so I know roughly how that works and how long it takes to do them. But that's not the problem. It's the financing, the breakdowns, the tickets, the insurances, the grades they've got to build to. I mean, the one to listen to about that is the old Silver Fox. I mean, he used to actually work in the trade. He was in building finance for the big building companies. And as he's been pointing out for some time now, it just won't happen. They will never, ever be able to build those amount of houses in that amount of time. And we know a lot of them would go to the paddlers anyway. Yeah, they won't be affordable, Graham. They've got to put so much new tech into them. Every new house has got to have solar panels. Every new house has got to have a heat pump. Every house has got to come up to spec on insulation. And all that does is bump the price up. Yeah. Build one for 7K. Very much doubt it, mate. Very much doubt it. I mean, the last time I worked on a site for an independent builder, basically what he told me is that if you build, was it 6 houses or 7 houses, the last one that they build is the amount of profit that they would get, because the others being sold, the profit will pay for the build on that one. So that one would be the out and out profit. Whether that still stands today, I don't know. I'm going back well over 20 years. So. But, yeah, it's very worrying what's going on. I'm going to live in a caravan. That's the thing, Jen. You could build houses at that rate, but they'd be like the Chinese buildings. They'd just fucking fall down after a couple of years if they get used at all. Because they'd never pass any normal inspection. Yeah, I don't watch that Craig Houston shirt. I tried, but I really can't understand the fucking word he's saying half the time. Yeah, exactly, Moo. You know, if they've come from these war-torn countries, they should be used to living under tarpaulins and shit. So the incentives are too big still for them to come here. That's the problem. Yeah, you look at that, Scar. They're trying to get councils now to force people out of their social housing, shall I call it, if they don't need the space. Even testing the waters on coming round and inspecting it and what have you. So, you know, as I said before, we'd be included in that. We've got a council house. It's supposed to be 3 bedroom, but one is a box room. You won't even fit a single fucking bed in there. And the other one is registered as an office because they told Heather that she has to work or work part-time. So she needs an office to work from. But technically they could still turn around and say, well, there's only the 2 of you. Fuck off out of it. I haven't seen today's countdown, but it's been non-stop. I mean, with the nice weather, it will be non-stop, and there's no intention of stopping them. Yeah, there's a lot of ins and outs about living in caravans, Jen, or Karen, whoever it was that mentioned that. I can't remember now. There are certain rules, even if you own one on a site, especially a holiday site, as it were, you can only live in them for a certain period through the year. You can't live in them full time. And anything that you're intending to live in full time, i.e. a camper or whatever, they have to go through an extra test to make sure that the living standards in them are up to what they would expect. Otherwise, you can't use them to live in. You can use them for holiday, but you can't be resident in them. It's so lucky that my husband bought the house. Oh, you might be able to in Ireland, Karen. I mean, there are ways around it. If you've got a bit of land, apparently you can register it as farm accommodation. Either, you know, a wooden shack or a caravan. And apparently you can get round it that way. I've never known anybody to try it. It was just someone that said it the other day. Yeah, I used to live in an off-grid cottage, Jen, down in Cornwall. No running water. It was spring fed, no sewage system, no electric, no gas. I had a little generator there if I wanted electric for anything. And the gas I used to go and pick up in cylinders. And I never got bothered until the owner died and his son wanted to turn it around and register it and redo it as a bloody holiday let. Caravans on our site. Yeah, there's a lot of them do that, Stuart. Some of them will take in winter lets as well out of season. Well, a lot of coastal towns do that with flats as well and apartments. They'll rent them out for the holiday season and then they'll get somebody in there for like 5 months, 6 months, once nobody's renting them for holidays, just to keep the money coming in. But they're going to be looking at stopping that now with all these second homes and what have you. You know, it's really sort of exploded since Airbnb took off. I mean, my old mobile caravan, and I'm going back a lot of years, that we used to tow to go on holiday, that had double glazing in, Stuart. Double glazing, it had thermostat controlled gas heating. You know, it's amazing what they get in them nowadays. They are, Karen, but the other problem is that a lot of people have took it up, as we used to do back in the day, thinking it was cheap holiday, and it was. But now, to even tow a caravan, if you're under a certain age, before the laws were changed, you've actually got to take a separate test for towing caravans. Whereas before, as long as you had it insured and it was within the curb weight for towing for your tow vehicle, off you went. No extra training, no nothing. I mean, I used to tow, I started off with a 10-foot one, a little 2-berth. I used to tow that with a Capri. Hi, Adrian. Bought a bigger one, a much, much better one, a 14-foot 4-berth with a shower and toilet and that in it. And I used to tow that with the Pontiac Trans Am, 7.4 litre V8. I won't go into how much it used to cost in fuel to tow it because, yeah, it would frighten you. Yeah, and you have to have specialist movers as well. One of my friends on Facebook, that's what she actually does. Her and her husband, they drive the lorries with these big caravans on the back. Oh yeah, what do we all think about this that went off in Austria? The mass shooting again, with God knows how many lives it was lost now, including the perpetrator. The fuel tank, yeah, not far off that, Scar. Including the perpetrator, as I say, who took the coward's way out, so he didn't have to face the consequences of his actions, and apparently shot himself in the toilets, which is very apt, really, with what he'd just done. But now I was interested in the way that it was publicised, especially from over there. Obviously, our mainstream media here trying to put their spin on it and this, that, and the other. But the difference in the way it was put out by the police over there to how it happens here. Yeah, sure. I think 29 injured, wasn't it? The police came out, gave full explanation to what it was. Definitely wasn't a terrorist attack. He was a pupil at the school. He had a beef with the school. Now, that in itself is far, far further than the British police go. As we said, they're all about cover-ups, gaslighting and misinformation. You know, they won't even give you the ethnicity of someone who's committed a crime unless they're a white person, of course. But how they reacted, and, you know, and I've always said that's the way to stop the rumours. That's the way to stop the conspiracy theorists. Because if they got the facts, they can't deny the facts. I mean, yes, there is every very, very small chance that the Austrian police could be lying, but I don't believe so. They even looked more sincere when they're talking to the cameras than the British police. Yeah, it could be, Karen. You know, I mean, that's what I say. The way they put their media out over there is a lot different to what gets put out here. You know, same in fairness with the American police. They'll give out a lot more information to quell any problems that are arising from the crimes. And it stops the conspiracy theorists. You know, we saw what happened in up north, Southport, all because the people weren't giving the information. So the people that wanted bad things to happen started putting out their own versions of things and the wrong facts, and it ended up blowing up. Oh, exactly, Stuart. Exactly, mate. You know, if he was a student there, then someone basically automatically, they probably knew his identity before they even got to him. I mean, there is a video floating around of him actually allegedly doing the shootings and running around the school. Well, most of those are from another event. There's nothing's been released on that front yet, but so someone's already started, you know, putting out false information and that. But yeah, Stuart, they do know a lot more than they put out, and they don't realise that by not putting it out and covering a lot of it up, they're actually creating the conflicts that are happening. Speaks for itself, doesn't it? That's what they want. They want the conflicts. They want the conflicts between little groups. Because while we're all out here worrying about and fighting with each other, we're not actually fighting the root of the problem, which is the government. But yeah, that's generally what I've been seeing when I've managed to stay awake. Well, apparently they were talking about having metal detectors and what have you in doorways, but you know, I doubt if they're armed guards. They might have security, but there again, what's a grown person going to end up facing if they grab a kid and hurt him? You know how overzealous these security bods get. And most of them at the moment seem to be foreigners that work security. A lot of them can't even speak reasonable fucking English. And you want to put those fuckers in the schools with the kids. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, as we said, Stuart, same as what's happening in America now. It's mainly the coloured kids that are kicking off. They see anything that they can use as an excuse for a bit of violence, a bit of looting, a bit of rioting. They're on it. Yeah, well, they got the school support officers, haven't they? But they visit a school maybe once in a blue moon. You know, they're not going to station them outside schools. But again, it's America's, you know, the mainstream media's showing it as a total countrywide rioting over there. It's not. It's only in certain areas of one or two cities. And it's not the peaceful protesters that are doing the rioting, the looting. This is down to the agitators, Antifa, and people like that. You're not getting messages on this. What, in the chat, Jen? Because I can't see if YouTube have removed any comments unless somebody's put something in and said it doesn't show up. So you're not getting them on here. Huh. That'll be down to the faceless cowards then, Jen. That's beyond my control, unfortunately. No, it won't show any different over there. But it's the same as what's happening in Northern Ireland around Ballymena. Now, they've had loads and loads of peaceful protests there. Let's see what Brian Wilson has died. Beach Boys. Oh, well.
That Brian Wilson.
They're, yeah, and as soon as the peaceful... Sorry, I lost myself there for a minute. You know what my head's like in the moment, and I have got one mother of a fucking headache at the moment. Yeah, the peaceful protests finish, and then you got the troublemakers move in afterwards. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Running the immigrants out of town. And plenty of us would like to do that in several different places. I did say at the time, or thought at the time, that burning the house down was a little bit over the top, because that could have been a house that could host an Irish family, for instance. They've done themselves out of that. But the thing is, these that do the riots and start on with the violence, you know, they're the ones that are doing more harm to the cause. You know, it's a bit different standing up to the police en masse, but when you start actually attacking, you're giving them what they want. Most people, if the police attack them, don't fight back. One, because they can't, or two, because they're peaceful protesters. And that shows the police up for exactly what they are. Yeah, yeah, they do provoke it. Yeah, that's the thing, Stuart. You know, and it doesn't matter what rules the council wants to bring in and anything. If the government says you're having these fuckers, you're having them, and that's it. There's nothing you can usually do about it on that front. But I've always said that this is what's going to happen. The police don't act. You report a crime, They don't act on it, so people will act on it themselves. And before you know it, you've got complete fucking anarchy, vigilantes running around everywhere. Yes, the women have got to be protected, and the Irish boys are doing a damn good job of it from what I've seen through some of the videos that have come out over there. We've got Stuart, who's literally on the doorstep over there. We got Paul and the boys at Pearson Eye abusing their powers. They're obviously covering it. I get personal information through some of my relatives that live over there, and none of it is sounding good. The only good thing that I can see coming out of it is that you've got Catholics, Protestants, all standing together. And that's what it's going to take. Everybody needs to stand together if you're going to try and force something like this. It's no good just doing it in little groups. It's got to be en masse. Right, so I've got bloody notes everywhere here. Just because I don't do videos means I'm not watching things and making notes. Yeah, doesn't surprise me, Stuart. It's like going back to the 70s, isn't it? But yeah, the police do harass and entice and push people to being violent and committing crime, I've got to admit. Yeah, I said that in today's video, Scar. It shows the police intent when they can let thousands of people walk past in front of them, carrying banners that are supporting terrorism, calling for the doing away of our own people here. Racist slurs, because racism does go both ways. They harass and attack anybody that comes within reach of them, and the police do fuck all. But you stand on a corner waving a Union Jack saying you're all wrong, and as I put it, you're going to get a pack of fucking hyenas on you within a few seconds, and they're all in fucking uniforms and carrying batons and gas and fucking handcuffs. It's obvious where their allegiance lies. And I mean, knighting that prick Khan in London, well, as far as I'm concerned, he shouldn't even be a fucking British citizen, let alone get a fucking knighthood. Yeah, they do absolutely. The only de-escalation they do is with the fucking Islamists and the pro-Palestine mob. They will never try and de-escalate an Englishman with his flag. It's knock down and arrest most of the time. And, most of the English that get arrested, they don't fight back, they don't resist, but they'll push them into doing that by twisting them up so they resist and fight back. Yeah, that was probably down to the police as well, Stuart. I did see a video of them all on the streets. They were attacking a few vehicles and shit. But the bikers that were killed, what were they riding? What were they doing? We don't know. They've never released that. But what I am going to do for a minute is I'm going to have to leave you in the capable hands of Mrs. W, because I've had the feeling come over me that I need a piss.
Thank you for the warning.
If you'd like to...
If I'd like to what?
Entertain.
Entertain? Yeah. Just like that. Drop of the hat.
No, I don't mean do a strip or take clothes off.
Yeah, I don't know whether you heard that, but I'm not repeating it. just like that, at the drop of a hat, I have to entertain. So I don't know. Yeah, I do love that man. I just know it's terrible. How's work? Right, yeah. Well, it doesn't seem like it, but I've been there 6 months, so a song will do. Any particular songs, Scar? Yeah, I've been there 6 months. I've passed my probationary period, so they're keeping me. The mistakes I've made haven't been that bad, but it's caused everything to grind to a halt. So, yeah, that's good news. That was just last week. No, it doesn't seem, but I started in December. So, beginning of December, I started. But I'd been waiting so long for the paperwork to go through. I was beginning to think I'd never start. But yeah, some people that like me for being me. It's quite a good team. We had a team meeting the other week. So I've met about half of the staff now. Thank you. You have to excuse me. I've had a piece of chicken and it's got stuck in my teeth. I hate things stuck in my teeth.
Roger, good evening. Yeah, exactly. She hasn't said where it's coming from or anything. And you can guarantee that'll be at some point, if not before the next budget. You can guarantee the taxes will be going up for that. Yeah, we are only halfway through, Jen. You know. But it's the, sorry about me breathing, it takes a lot out of me going up and down them stairs. Fuck it, I've forgotten what I was going to say then. But no, that's what I mean. They're writing checks that they can't cash.
That's fraud.
Well, yeah, if anybody else did it. If you just went into a bank and said, oh, I'm going to make some bad investments, I need to borrow a few million or a few billion pounds, you wouldn't get it. While creating one themselves, Scar. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Like, the world has gone mad in so many ways. I mean, what we're seeing now has been predicted in science fiction films and books for years, hasn't it?
But I've said for a long time, as a country, we need to borrow to invest because it isn't in the pot. So we need to borrow to invest in something that will give us money back. What's that saying? You've got love. Don't borrow.
Don't borrow money to improve your lifestyle. Only borrow money to make money.
There you go. That's what we need to do as a country.
And this is the thing. Everything they've invested in outside this country, we will never get any return on it. Especially for the billions that we spent on the Ukraine and are still doing so. We're never going to get that back.
But we've got this problem and we've had it for a long time. We've got the M6 toll not too far away from us. But is it the French?
French own it, yeah.
Get all the revenue from that. The same is true of the bridge in Bristol.
Severn Bridge.
Yeah, is that French?
No, the French don't get anything from that one now. They've been told that any money that makes has to go back into maintenance.
But that's because
But it's still French owned.
Yeah, But that's because it's been there so long and they used to. But this is the problem with the country. We haven't got anything to bring the revenue in. You buy a house, you rent it out, you've got revenue coming in. So, yeah.
I still think
We need Muscat.
that they've got money there, but it's not from the taxpayer. It's not from the country. I think it's from places like BlackRock. And that was with the meetings that Comrade Starmer had with them. I reckon they're getting help from them, or will do. But then that leaves us open because anybody that's lent us money can foreclose on them loans. And what you do? Oh, we'll take your country off you. Yeah, I mean, that does sound a bit extreme, but it's entirely possible. Yeah, but what have we actually got that anybody else wants, Lodge? That's the big issue. The Americans keep on, they want the cars, but Japanese firms and other ones now are opening up factories and outlets in America, so they won't need to get them from us.
Loretta's in the house.
Oh, Loretta, good evening, Loafer. Larry, think for yourself. Yeah. Yeah, most of the engineering, bar the Italians, Ferrari, is done in this country. But to me, that's a dying sport now anyway. That's all gone political and woke. Yeah, but cheap labour on the things they want, Jen, just won't cut. Can put a bid in for the Eiffel Tower. Well, someone did say that they wanted the Statue of Liberty back, didn't they? From America. I heard it a couple of times, but yeah, the Chinese production industry, basically, it's a disposable industry. Everything they make is, you could class it as a one-off use, throw it away. That's why they make them in such huge amounts. Oh, thank you for telling me I'm live an hour late. Okay. Fine. But again, the Chinese super fucking embassy that they've signed off for in London. Now, Trump is against this, and Trump will penalise Starmer for that. As Trump said, why on earth would you want to put one of the biggest cyber infiltrators, spies, hackers, and put them into their own super centre within your capital city? You know, I mean, every device that comes out of China usually has got some sort of spyware in it. If you listen to the conspiracy theorists, even a lot of the toys and white goods, I don't believe they go that far, but listening on the phones, computers, anything that comes out of China, I mean, think of the balloons they sent over, the satellites that they're now trying to put up. We know there's secret Chinese police here. We know there's secret Chinese police stations here. Oh, it is. It's a big mistake, Scar. Big mistake. I mean, he was cooing on about, we bought in a £1.5 billion contract for investment into this country from somewhere. didn't say nothing about the billions and the millions that are disappearing out of the country because of what they're doing. Way outnumbers what they're bringing in. And it's all gaslighting. Good evening, Norman. Welcome. But they don't see as they're doing anything wrong. They can't take the blame for anything. All right, and Jen, we'll catch up with you over the weekend or on Facebook, I dare say. Yeah, I'll be all right, Jen. It's just that when I get one of these bugs, because of the other ailments that are permanent, it does hit me hard. Especially when you get blocked sinuses through it and you're already struggling to breathe anyway. That doesn't help. No, there isn't, Scar. The people, if you look at the ones he's doing deals with, we're not going to get as much out of it as them. We've already given most of those countries billions in fucking aid. There's no, trust, as you say, no trust. They don't trust this government. They don't trust our economy. It's not a place where they're going to make money. And that's why a lot of them are pulling out. That's why the water board investor that was going to invest in Thames Water, that's why they pulled out. There's nothing to be made there. They owe too much money. Oh, that doesn't surprise me in the least, Lodger. Oh, how the fuck? I forgot that was up there. So, how do I? Sorry, I just realised I've left a highlighted comment up there. There we go. I didn't even notice that. That's how much attention I'm paying to that. Yeah, Lodge, I wouldn't be at all surprised at that. We know they infiltrate everything. As I say, it's espionage with the Chinese, like with the Russians. It's on an industrial scale. Let's put it that way. They got enough hassles going on around their own borders and what have you over there. Yeah. Well, do you know what I'd say in that place, Scar? I say, well, you wanted the borders, you got hold of them. It's your running them, your fucking problem. Nothing to do with us. The only problem we'd have is, as you say, with the queues. I mean, literally, Spain is trying to put off holiday makers with all the shit that's going on there now with extra taxes, extra payments, extra vetting, extra this, that, and the other. Spain, it just isn't a safe place for a holiday now. Just about every major city in Europe has got, every town in Europe has got an immigrant problem. Some of them worse than what we've got here. But they are fighting back. They're defying the EU. They're bringing in their own stuff to stop people coming in and being able to get rid of them. Putting razor wire up along their borders, which is something we can't do, obviously, being an island. More's the pity. You back again, are you, Ray? Yeah, I mean, they see something and they go after it and they don't think of the fallout the consequences of their actions. Now, cigarettes, cooking, fair enough. They're trying to slowly ban cigarettes. Well, they've already started, I think. But that creates another black hole in the government coffers because they won't be getting the taxes for it. They would be losing billions if everybody gave up smoking tomorrow. They would be losing billions. I mean, I did do a video on it of exactly how much they were paying and how much they were getting each year, and it is in the billions. But they've got this major war going on now with motorists, car owners, van owners. Now, it's a war on them. They want cars off the road. They don't want us to have anything burnt down. It's down in the chat. Yeah, a lot of it's on the black market anyway, Loafer. The insurance is horrendous now if you own a car. Well, this is simply because, not just EVs, because insurance companies are told, if you can write a car off, write it off. And the ridiculous excuses they're using, like I said the other week, our neighbour had the bumper and the front grille stolen off his Ford. The insurance company wrote it off. And that was probably an $8,000 car, but they wrote it off just because the bumper had been nicked. Tax, road tax, going up all the time along with the insurance. You've got the police, which are fining and pulling everybody over for the slightest little infraction. You know, back in the day, it would be, oh, look, you know, you did that a bit wrong there, but just be a bit careful next time. Now, no, it's a fine. If they pulled your car and you didn't have insurance, which you should always have, by the way, because it is illegal to drive without it. But if for any reason you got pulled up a few years ago and the driver didn't have insurance, if there was somebody else in the car with a license that had full insurance, they'd let them take the car on. Or they'd make you park your car up and go and get somebody with insurance. Now, no, seized. So what they're doing is the same as they do with the cigarettes. They're making it financially unviable to own it. And that way they don't have to ban them outright. And I'm only saying that because it was brought up again, I think it was yesterday, about they're still looking into the feasibility of pay per mile. Well, if they go pay per mile, that means they've got to track you. That means you've got to have a device in your car that they can tell them exactly where you're going, what speed you're doing, how much it's cost you to get there, how long you've been on the roads. And it's another form of control, same as the digital ID. It's in the region of about 10 billion a year, Loafer, I believe. I think I haven't got the list in front of me, but I think that's what I seem to remember from the video I done. So, you know, that's a £10 billion hole that they've created by just doing that. They've all got to have them anyway from, I think it's 2027, Scott. Although they've got no intention of turning them on in this country yet, but in Europe, any new car on the forecourt will have to have them on and being used all new cars in this country will have them, but once they get in, then they'll start activating it and bringing things in place where you've got to actually turn them on in this country as well.
They're already offering cheaper insurance if you have a black box.
Yeah, it's because it's all subsidised, Ray. The restaurants, the bars, everything in there for them is subsidised. You think about it out here, you'd pay a week's shopping bill to go out and have a couple of decent steaks. In there, they're getting them for, well, not pennies, but put it this way, under a tenner. And that on the cigarettes, by the way, was only cigarettes and hand rolling tobacco. That didn't cover pipe tobacco or anything like that. But this is what I said. If you ban something like cigarettes or even alcohol, the past shows us what happens. People will smuggle. People will sell it a bit cheaper. And basically what they're doing by banning these things is creating crime. They're opening doors for crime syndicates to open up. Yeah, exactly, Scar. I mean, anything they do on the roads, it affects the transport of goods. So, yeah, transport costs go up accordingly, which puts prices up on the shelves accordingly, driving the price of food and stuff up. I mean, I challenge anybody to look into their finances and tell me that anything they've done has saved anybody 500 quid a year that they claim. It's not happening.
I stopped buying new chocolate.
Well, yeah, that's only because of my health, though.
Yeah, but that's probably saved close to £500 a year.
Well, yeah, for the amount of it I used to eat. But yeah, exactly, Ray. Yeah, your ban said it creates the underground, the black market for it. You know, and that's in any country, really. But what can we do? We're not the ones in charge. We should be the ones that hold the power because the government should be working for us, but we're not. You know, they can't get it into the heads to come and ask us first. I mean, Reeves, I had to fucking laugh during a little bullshit session there this afternoon. Oh, I've been round and I've gauged what the communities are telling me, that we're doing a good job in this, that and the other. You lying bitch. The only time I've seen her out in public is when the public are absolutely slating her off for being in public, and rightly so. She just talks bullshit. If she went to any nice little community in this country now and tried to talk to them, she'd probably get told to fuck off. Same as Starmer, same as Rayner. Wouldn't happen to Lammy because that fat fuck's never in the country. You know, Miliband, there's another one, the net zero bollocks. That's costing us billions with what he's trying to do, and it just ain't going to work. Paid 470 quid VAT on my brother's funeral. That I can believe, Ray. That I can believe. 270 collection. You know, everything, you know, think about it. You get taxed on your water. Basically, you're paying tax on having a shit. You need to turn your spell checker on, Loafer. Yeah, you notice Rayna's not getting too directly involved with all this shit that's going on now. I mean, she's got no chance, but I think she's got her eyes on Starmer's fucking seat, on his job. And that would totally screw this country up, because that dozy bitch just hasn't got a fucking clue. She's as bad as Stephen Reeves. Oh, hello. Just looking at some guys. Got an email. Nope. No, that's the thing. The emails don't ping on there. They ping on my phone.
I was making the noise for you.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, that's not quite as strong a word as I'd use to describe him, Scar, but yeah. I mean, he's another one that hasn't thought of the consequences of what he's doing. Oh, yeah, we'll just go and store millions of pounds of tons of carbon. Well, once you've run out of storage space, what are you going to do with it? Put it back in the atmosphere?
We're pumping it underground.
Oh, absolutely, Scar. Absolutely. I mean, she's already at loggerheads with Reeves. You know, things that both of them are putting in place work against each other. It's. I've never known this country be like this. Never. And it's been through some dark times since I've been aboard, since I've been alive. Yeah, exactly, Ray. This is what they can't seem to understand, that the oxygen we breathe is produced by the plants and foliage that feed on that carbon. And like anything, any good plant, if it can't get its feed, it's going to fucking die. And not in our lifetime, but if they carry on like it, Britain will just turn into a desert wasteland.
I thought it was going to be covered in desserts for a minute.
It'll look a bit like Gaza. But, yeah, and the thing is, we've got all these protests here. And nearly all the protests are about what's happening elsewhere. You know, there's very few protests now, believe it or not, that are against what's going on here. Most of the big protests are all about what's happening in other countries by people from other countries, and the odd weird fucker from this country that joins in with them. But yeah, I think people have had enough of being lied, gaslit. Yeah, there's more and more people waking up, Scar, whether they're prepared to stand up. Can't protest, they change the laws, it's all racist. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They, as far as they're concerned, racism can only go one way. You can't be a racist unless you're white, which is totally wrong.
No.
Totally wrong.
Not necessarily 100% accurate. You can only be racist against somebody with coloured skin. You cannot be racist towards somebody.
Yeah, but they're not going to call somebody with coloured skin calling out somebody else with coloured skin
a racist.
No, they don't. They don't at all, darling. You're wrong there. Sorry. I see it all time, every day on here. You know, and until they sort that shit out, the biggest hiccup is the ECHR. That is what is stopping us bringing in our own laws, our own rights, deporting people. And until they get that sorted, fuck all's going to change. Believe me. And nothing's going to change in this country until we get rid of this fucking showering power. Yeah, exactly, Scar. Now, can you imagine an English guy stood on the corner shouting that we're going to wipe all you fuckers out in the Palestine protests? You imagine how the police would come down on them. But do they come down on them for calling for us to be killed, for us to be wiped out, for us to be invaded? No, not a fucking thing. They are arresting a few, but if you look at the ones they're arresting, they're the ones that are fully covered up, all in black. You can't even tell what fucking race they are, and most of them are Antifa anyway, but and they say the law doesn't discriminate. Absolutely it does, same as the justice system. I mean, Starmer doesn't want this country. He's openly said that, hasn't he? He'd rather Davos run it. Yeah. I mean, he showed his intentions when he said that, and that was back way before the election.
So does that mean the Daleks would be in control?
Oh, Davos, yeah.
Kadunk. Got there.
We are the superior race, yeah.
And yes, I know it was Davros.
Yeah. But anyway, Doctor Who's gone woke and gone broke now, haven't they? Disney have said they don't want it anymore. But yeah, as I say, go woke, go broke, innit?
They keep getting rid of the good people that play doctors.
Exterminate, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been using the vape a lot, Stitch, so my throat won't do it like it did that first time.
Oh,
I can't get the resignation going in there. But yeah, you know, if you look at the businesses they're killing in this country, yet they say the economy's on the up. Nah, not a friggin' chance. I should say Paul and the Pearson A boys are probably out filming tonight because they'd have probably dropped in by now. But go look him up. He's on YouTube. Pearson I Abusing Their Powers. He's on Facebook. Hotels are booming, yeah. They're making a right killing, they are, but just not with the right people. The same people are paying for it, but not getting anything out of it. Yeah, exactly, Stitch. They're delusional. They really are. They just haven't got a clue what they're doing. And I mean, Reform now have got things kicking off in their party again. You know, with the new chairman. Oh no, we don't want to ban halal meat. We don't want to ban the burqa and shit like that. Which is what we need, to be honest. Other countries have done it, even with the ECHR in place, because EU countries have done it. one or two more have gone a bit further and really kicking people out. There was one, was it Hungary? I can't remember whether it was Hungary or Poland, but the government passed a bill or a law that allowed their country to shoot at the fucking immigrants across the border. But we're not allowed to do that. But apparently we don't need to, because there was a few more sank out in the channel last night, I think it was. I saw a report on more of them disappearing. But there's that many coming, they can't keep up with them across the channel. They're back to landing on the beaches again with the dinghies. Yeah, exactly, Stitch, with what they got to. But there again, that those companies have been paid up set fees by the government. They can't claim anymore, so they've got to do it all out of the money they've been given, which is far more, as you say, than what the holiday makers would pay for those hotels. And the other thing is, it's all year round for them. It's not seasonal like holidays. And hotels they've been struggling over the last few years. They get offered a lifeline like that, most of them will take it, unfortunately. Same with private landlords that they've been asking for.
Just in case.
And with what they do when they get here, I mean, there was stabbings again yesterday, and we're too easygoing. We've tried to help people out, and we just get abused and used for doing it. And the country, especially the government, has got to grow a fucking backbone and say, no, we've had enough. They've got to learn how to say no. They say it to us easy enough. Why can't they say it to other countries? It's only 2 letters. Oh, what's that? Paul's
yeah,
link.
that's the link to PSNI abusing their powers in Northern Ireland.
If you don't subscribe to them, go over and give them a look. Tell them where you saw it. I mean, most of you know Paul anyway, through myself and Dan.
Understanding what he says might be an issue.
Yeah. he does talk at a rapid pace, as all Northern Irelanders do, with the dialect. But he's usually pretty up to date. Yeah, it is. It's a piss take now, Stitch. It really is. I mean, basically what they're doing is forcing people to pay huge amounts for charity. Well, as far as I'm concerned, charity should be voluntary. It shouldn't be in through a fucking tax. Well, now they keep on that they're obliged to help these people. This in particular is the RNLI Ray. Now, it is an unwritten maritime rule that if someone is in distress, you go to their aid as fast as you can and you do what you can. I don't call the French ever having to pick them up. They just escort them. So they're not in trouble. And the RNLI should do the same. I'm sorry, I mean, it's sad, any loss of life, but if they get into trouble crossing the channel, that's their fucking problem. They put themselves at risk. They took that risk. You can't go blaming us for it. Yeah, but they don't do nothing, Ray. That's what I said. under their laws, they couldn't enter the water on the beaches to stop them. And then for some godforsaken reason, once they get on the water, the French Navy won't do anything about them other than escort them. And the fact that the French, as you say, have got their own rescue service, they've got their own Coast Guard, but even when one of these boats gets into fucking trouble, who gets called out? Our lot. And very, very rarely have they ever took any back to France, even if they picked them up in French waters. They bring them here. So Starmer's big speech every time, we're stopping the boats. No, they're not. They've got no fucking intention of stopping them, believe me. They had everything in place where they could have stopped them if they want to, and they just wasted it. Yeah, well, if you're in trouble, you're going to request it, and that's what they do, isn't it? You know, they'll get out in the middle of the channel. Oh, if the RNLI turned around and said, well, we're not going to take you, they'll just slash their own boat, which means they're obliged to rescue them. You know, it's blackmail. I mean, they've got all the equipment to do it. They've been trained to do it. And he thinks by changing Border Force's name, it's going to miraculously stop. Yeah, right. I don't see it myself. But hopefully, reform might do something different. But that means we got to put up with another 4 years of this shit. And I've got to get another drink. Oh.
Yes, Scott, I've said that all along. We need to change what we do. We are an island. We are like Australia in that. And in that, we should be able to say, actually, no, we don't want that coming into our country. Problem is, France is too close. That's the big issue. It's an easy journey.
Well, the fact that people can swim it.
Huh?
The fact that we can swim it.
You can't swim to Australia.
I'll tell you what, the Australians have got their borders spot on.
That's what Scar just said. That's what I was agreeing with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're out of the room.
And they used to get their share of people trying to cross by boats, but they were a bit different from the boats that they're using here. And unfortunately, the only thing that's going to stop them is bad weather. You know, we've got no way of securing our border here other than stopping them in the channel. That's the only way we can secure our border on the southeast coast. It's no good putting barbed wire or any of that shit out because they've already landed.
Can't build a wall.
Can't build a wall, no.
The problem is no other country wants them, so they are quite happy to let them carry on their journey towards the magnificent United Kingdom, land of plenty and benefits.
Yeah. Working class patriot.
I think the only way we'll stop them coming is if somewhere between where they're coming from and here, somebody actually says, right, this is where it stops, and then we look at where we're going to take you, put you. But no one has the capacity.
Border Force does have a certain amount of power, Scar.
But when they're crossing the channel, it's too late.
Yeah, that only goes for members of the public, Ray. The government, Border Force, Navy. They'd never, ever be prosecuted for that. Yeah, you know, a lot of them coming over, as you say, Loafer, they're claiming asylum, saying they'd be persecuted if they went back home. Well, yeah, of course they would if they're fucking criminals. And that's why most of them have left. It's not through hardship. It's not through war. It's for an easier life. And then once they get here, they realise what's going on. Islam trying to take over the fucking country. And straight away they get roped into that. It was the Navy that trained Border Force, Scott, on how to turn them back with the new boats they were given and shit. But that never happened. Yeah, there's been some beach landings today, Lodge. But, you know, they're still missing the fact that they're coming through all these safe countries to get here. And they're not using that fact to get rid of them. That's international law. You can claim asylum in the first safe place you come to.
Can, but don't have to.
But don't. Who made France? And, you know, again, this is the thing, the French don't give them accommodation like our lot do. That's why they're all living in these fucking camps over there. So obviously the incentive here is stronger. And the fact that they're paying to come here tells me that most of them have probably got more than enough money. They might not have it in their pockets when they land, but...
Don't they reckon the average place on a boat costs 30 grand?
No, it's about 3 grand now. There's that many of them crossing. Yeah, I don't know whether they get fuel allowances or what have you, Lodger. But a lot of the RNLI bods were leaving because they said they joined, you know, they turn out for the odd shout when someone is in danger. But they're finding it's more like a full-time job down in Dover and Margate and what have you, where they launch their boats. And it interferes with their private lives. You know, most of them had all volunteers, so they've all got jobs. And they were saying, you know, we can't keep taking time off of work to do this shit.
Bosses don't like it.
So they must be supporting them somehow. Yeah, I wouldn't say they're abusing them, Roger. I mean, we used to give regular to the RNLI. I always did for many years. Obviously, I used to go on the fishing boats and that. But since this started, no, I won't support them. Yeah, I watched a couple of videos on that, Lodger, calling them out to their faces in Calais and the people helping them. But there again, that's Nick Taccone all over in it. I mean, he'll go to the protests and he'll stand in the forefront and give them shit, even to the police. to the point where I'm surprised the police haven't arrested him yet. But that will come. Sorry, me keep sniffing. I'm still bunged up. I mean, if reform weren't there, I'd have probably voted UKIP, Lodger. But
don't think we had a UKIP round here.
no, we didn't have any candidates round here. Not that we got a chance to vote this time anyway. Although in the last local elections I did vote reform.
Once we got your postal vote sorted.
Yeah, see, that's what pisses me off. You got these groups over here like Care for Calais, the refugees welcome here. Well, for a start, they're not fucking refugees. They're economic migrants. But when you ask them, not one of them that's ever been asked would put one of these refugees up in their own home. They've always got some excuse. People will just jump on anything. And those that are encouraging it, like those groups, again, I'd call them traitors. Lower level than the government, but traitors nonetheless. Yeah, they do stop them on the roads coming out of Dover as well to see if anybody sneaked through, Lodge, in the back of the wagons and shit like that. I'd just leave them to it, see how many fucking actually make it across on their own, Scar. Because, they're landing on the beaches, so saying there's no operation to pick them up in the channel ain't going to stop them. If they stop Border Force picking them up and the hour and the lie, there would still be more than enough get here. I mean, that one that landed on the beach today, that looked like it had 70, 80 people on the bloody thing. Well, I'm going to give it another 10 minutes, people. And then I'm going to call it quits. Or you take a couple of painkillers because I'm not allowed to take too many. Simply because they interfere with one of my other medications. And I'm daft enough already without fucking my medications sending me squirrely. Replace them with gunships. Shouldn't say that really. Oh, yeah, that was the other one I heard today. The Chagos deal. Now, we paid God knows how many billion for them to hand that over to Mauritius. I think it was. And now Mauritius has got that much money coming in from our government. They're going to drop their income tax. Think about that here, why they're putting taxes up. We're paying them to drop their income tax bill. Definitely not right. I have to be careful with mine. Yeah, Scar, most of them we've, the Vikings, okay, that wasn't much of an invasion, but when they started to stay here, they integrated, brought a lot of good things forward. The Romans, believe it or not, gave us a lot of useful things and knowledge.
Like roads.
Like roads, plumbing. So you come back to fucking Monty Python's now, yeah.
Well, apart from the roads and the sanitation and...
But what did this new invasion bring with them? Rape, murder, robbery. No, it shouldn't be here. The NCA have got a couple of bases that they use to monitor things in France as well, Lodge, I do believe. I can't confirm that. But yeah, they do have a permanent fixture in Dover. They do in most airports as well, funny enough. I mean, I got questioned by them years ago when I went to Ireland. I got pulled over going through and they said, you're travelling very suspiciously. We're looking into it. I said, well, what do you mean I'm travelling suspiciously? He said, well, you've only got one little shoulder bag with you. I said, well, yeah, I'm only going to Ireland for 3 fucking days. How many clothes do I need to bring? Oh, what you going for? I said, well, a funeral. Well, can you prove it? I said, well, no, he's fucking dead, so I can't get him to give a statement, can I, you silly prick? And I nearly missed my fucking flight because of it. And I did call them all the names under the sun and told them exactly what I fucking thought of them. There was no drug sniffer dogs or anything like that. It was just pure, oh, you're suspicious because you're carrying one bag. And I mean, that's going back, fuck me. That's got to be going back nearly 20 years. It was when they all used to wear the black and white checked jackets, blazers. So, but I mean, we don't have, my passport's run out years ago. Heather's never had one. We've got no intentions of going abroad. Might have thought about moving abroad if we'd have picked up the 208 million on the lottery yesterday, but yeah, great. There's 208 million into the British economy. You go fuck yourselves. I'm taking it out of the country where it's safer, where you thieving bastards can't get any tax out of it. Well, I mean, 200 million, we'd only need a fraction of that to see our lives out. Put enough aside for the kids for an inheritance. And I'd probably use the rest to fuck the government around as much as I could. Put it this way, there would be quite a few organisations and charities that would actually benefit. Oh dear. Oh, come over all weird then. I'm not going to say I come over all queer because people are only going to take that the wrong way. Oh, pardon me. That'd be the other thing I could use the lottery winnings for, is get private health fucking and get myself sorted out, or both of us. Or get us as healthy as we can, because it ain't going to happen with the NHS with the way things are going. Although I fell on my feet this week because I haven't had any appointments. I haven't got any booked in until next Tuesday and then the following Wednesday.
So we've both got an appointment next Tuesday.
Yeah, mine's a telephone call though. That's me blood pressure thing. Which reminds me, I must drop them other forms in, so if I do go up to Tesco's or you do go up, how come they need to be dropped in? But Right, guys, that's almost there now. I'm going to call that it because I need to go to the loo again. I'm badly dehydrated. I always am because of one of my conditions. And the nurse noticed it at the doctor's the other day at the hospital. Said, you are very dehydrated. You've got to drink more liquids. I said, well, unfortunately, I don't really like the taste of plain water. My partial is fizzy drinks. To which she actually replied, well, it doesn't really matter how you get your liquids. She said, if it's fizzy drinks, then that's fine. I said, well, thank you. But yeah, I'll call that it for now, guys. I'm going to go and take some painkillers. Thank you for joining myself and Mrs. W again tonight. Great, respectful people, as always. I hope I haven't bored you too much. Had a squeeze of... I don't like lemon, Ray. The only time I ever have lemon is on pancakes. And I don't mean the American spongy versions. I mean the proper batter pancakes. But as I say, we're going to leave that there. There may be another video this week. It depends on how I'm feeling. If I feel up to it, or there's some breaking news, I'll see if I can cobble something together. My apologies for the watermark on the videos that I edit now. But I'm not paying CapCut just to have that removed. So, but until the next time, guys, as always, that's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
And stay safe, stay strong, and stay free from the bullshit, the gaslighting, and the lies. Take care, everybody.